Please give it up for Mr. Jeff Simmermon.
So years before this, this is how I knew I was on the right track, because my girlfriend tolerated this shit and didn't break up with me. We're standing in a coffee shop in Washington, D.C. It's about 150 million degrees outside. And she's getting ready to go to a belly dancing rehearsal. And we went long distance from New York to D.C. For 2 years. I have all my luggage and I'm about to go back to New York. And she's like, let me just finish this thing. I'll be here in like 2 hours and I'll drop you off the bus. I have no idea where we are, so that's fine. I went up to order what I like to order when it's screaming hot out and I haven't had any coffee. And I said, look, can I get a triple espresso over ice? And this poor man's speedball. And the guy at the counter just goes, because you have to do this whenever anybody orders a coffee. He says, oh, no, you can't. I was like, excuse me? And he's like, no, it's against our policy. And he moves and he's like, no espresso over ice. And I'm like, are you serious about that? Yes, I'm so serious about everything right now. The fucking Decemberists were playing, which just made everything worse. I hate them. And then he says, and I was like, well, look, let me get a cup of ice and a cup of espresso. I'll do it at my table, nobody gets hurt, you know, like. And he rings it up, and then my girlfriend and I are chatting, and then the barista just wasn't even using that word out loud. Sir, and I came over, and like if you could put air quotes around "sir" with your voice, that's what he's doing. I go over there, and he has the ice and the coffee, and I'm reaching for it, and he's like, reaches out, says, excuse me, and he touches my arm, gently, with concern. What you're about to do is not okay. It's not okay. And I'm thinking, I'm not going to stir it with a toddler's penis. Drink it. It's going to be fine. It's going to be delicious. You're between me and the caffeine that I need right now. There's got to be a crater. Just step aside, buddy. And it disrupts the delicate oil and flavor balances of the coffee to shock it over ice like that. And you're depriving yourself of a true espresso experience. I'm about to deprive him of oxygen. And he said, so, I mean, you paid for it, so I guess you can do what you want. I was like, agreed. And he goes and he leaves. And my now fiance smiles really big and says, wow, that was really weird. Okay, I gotta go. He just gives me a kiss on the cheek and disappears. And I just had to sit there in the middle of nowhere in this coffee shop, just waiting for her. And I'm just fuming, and I was just sitting there writing cunty little things for a blog post, and then a couple hours went by, and I wanted some more coffee, and I thought that dude went on break or like went out the back to smoke or whatever, so I kind of slipped up, and I went to order some more coffee, and one of the guys in the back who heard the whole story said, look, he's there, you should go wait on him. And the guy came back up, and he's standing there, and it's just a really tiny little passive-aggressive high noon. And like if Gary Cooper had a grain of rice for a penis, that's what we're talking about here. And he's like, how can I help you? And I was like, can I just look man, let's just get through this. Like, can I have the strongest coffee that your policy will allow? Whatever that is, I would like to have it. And he's like, well, I can make you an Americano. And I don't know, I have no idea what an Americano is. This is a garbage dump. I don't care. I about have Baleen that just filters, I chew things retroactively is what I'm saying. So I'll have whatever, sure, that's fine, fuck it, I don't care. And then I see him scoop up all this ice and put it in a glass and fill it half full of water and then make a bunch of espresso and dump it into the glass. And I was like, you know, after that that's unusual after that long story about the delicate oil balances or whatever early. No, man, that's fucked. And that's when I started to get really mad. And I just drank it and I just sat there and I have this problem. I have a lot of problems. I don't have a lot of problems, which is a problem because I have all of the rage of a person who has a lot of problems. talk about this a lot. Like, what is the appropriate way to tip when somebody at a restaurant is a total dick? You gotta tip. Like, what do you do? Like when you're at a diner in Williamsburg or whatever, and they give you the burger, they won't give you tomatoes, and they're like, I guess we could give you some out of a can, but they're not in season, or like whatever. Locally grown. The burger was, I sung it a lullaby on a ukulele. But since I work in a restaurant, I do tons of blow, and that totally came across the desert in an infant's vagina. Like, what are you supposed to, you know what I mean? Like, everybody draws their lines, they're not straight. Is what I'm saying, but I digress. So I decided I'm not proud of this, but it really happened. I just took $1 out and I wrote, "Fuck you and your precious coffee policy," on it, and put it in the tip jar. After taking a picture of it and posting it to my little blog, where I write about funny little things that happened to me, put it on the internet. The next day I talked to my girlfriend about it on the phone, and she's like, "Yeah, that was sure nuts." And I think I said in there, I said, the next time I go to Mercy Coffee in Arlington, Virginia, or whatever, the only way I'm going back there is with a book of matches and a jar of kerosene. Because I rely on cheap metaphors to make a point. And I kind of forgot about it. And this blog, if you guys know the blog Boing Boing, it's a huge like kind of tech, hipster, geek blog. It's one of the top 10 most read blogs on the internet. They picked it up, which means that everybody that was in the coffee shop using the Wi-Fi was reading the posts and looking up and be like, haha, going up and ordering iced espressos. And then the owner of the coffee shop wrote on his business's website an open letter to Jeff Simmermon and said, if you ever come into my store again, I'll punch you in the dick. So, I thought that was excessive. I did the same thing, but I don't own a business. I barely own my own clothing. Like, I can say whatever. My only power is in my words. And then things just went kind of nuts. Like, I guess I just got more and more email, and just like our Eric earlier, I got like 200,000 email messages in 20 minutes. And I looked at my inbox and I thought, oh, everybody recognizes that I'm brilliant. Come on, come on, book deal. Right? Just that one blog post and then done. You can do a job. And then I start reading them and I discover that not everybody thinks that I am quite as brilliant as I do. And that in fact they find my behavior to have been wanting. And I was like, there's no way. There's obviously a good guy and a bad. And there was no racial outrage in America that day. There was no discrimination that day, there were no rigged elections, there was no income inequality. And the Washington Post picked the story up and put it above the fold on the Metro section. And then it went online, and then it's just like I had yodeled on top of Media Mountain, and just the avalanche was rolling downhill. By the end of the day, I called my father up, because my parents read the Post together every night before bed. And I was like, Dad, sometimes you don't read the news and you just go right, you can totally go write the sports. I was like, nope, I'm aware of that. I'm aware of that, Jeffrey. I'd also like you to know that the Washington, D.C. Fox News affiliate just called me asking for commentary on your behavior in that coffee shop in front of that young woman that we think is so nice. And I said, well, what did you say? And he said, all I could do, he channeled Donald Sutherland in The Great Escape, and just was like, never heard of him. I don't know what you're talking about. And they went away. And then it hit the Associated Press and Reuters, and it became an international news story. And I got emails from San Francisco, South Africa, from Melbourne, all coffee shop owners who were like, you may have overreacted, but we don't allow for that. And anytime you want to come in and get free food and drink, we'll teach you the proper way to drink an espresso. You just come on over. And then another guy wrote me from his office email to say that if there was any justice in the world, I would be raped to death in prison. And the best comment out of it was just one person wrote, whatever, man. The only real men in Arlington are buried there. you gotta wear that one. That was a good one. And I just started a job in PR, in media relations. My boss, like, when you go get on the jet with the CEO, could you just hide that one newspaper under the chair? And he was like, oh, yeah, don't. That's hilarious, but never do that shit. I was like, I wasn't trying to do that. I don't know. And it just it's just this psychological stretching of your brain happens. And you don't, like, you're either a hero or a villain. You can't just be a normal person who has a shitty attitude. You have to be everything that's wrong with the world, or everything that's right, the crusading avenger of coffee justice. You can't just be a guy. And I kept going to bed thinking it would go away, and it kept getting worse and kept getting worse. And then the guy that owned the coffee shop had had trouble with the IRS before and had one of his shops shut down. And so all this other tax evasion stuff got dug up by people. It all got dragged back through the news media all over again right when he thought it was over. And, you know, when I look at it now, I'm just like, if you go around the world treating it like your little one-armed bandit or like the claw machine at the bowling alley, like, let me just act like a dick and maybe some material will fall out that I can use. That's not really a way to be in life. Like, you should just be a person and write about that instead of like shaking the soda machine hoping a free one's going to fall out. I don't really like the person I was that was using that for cheap internet points. I think that's really crappy. But the guy friend requested me at the end of the week on Facebook.
Oh my God!
Can we put that behind us? And that was in 2008, and it's still sitting there because I might have acted like a jerk, but he's a total asshole.